So for me, this is like the basic kind of starter rack. So if you're going to start out trad climbing, this is like the minimum of what you need. So I mean, if I start off, I've got like a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, 5, a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I've got one each of the wires, and I've actually got like some Wild Country ones and some DMM ones. And what I find is that actually the Wild Country ones are just that little bit lighter. The DMM ones have this little groove in at times, and so I try to have a variety, and especially like if you have a look at you know, the profile of these. So this is a Wild Country 10, which has got a slightly thinner profile. I quite like having one of each on my rack. So this is like the basic rack, but that's the difference. Is like a DMM is wider than the Wild Country. So when you place it differently, I've also, you know, suggest that you get like a good rack of cams. Now, when you start out, you might not get these. You might get like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You might not even get 5. You might use hexes instead, and that's totally up to kind of like your price. But you know, you definitely want to have like at least 3 cams and a couple of hexes. They're bigger than your wires, so this is why I say you can get rid of these and possibly this one, because you know that will go down to about the size of that. So you know, you're looking for stuff that's a little bit bigger than your wires. Okay, on top of that, you're going to want about 8 quick draws. Now, quick draws or extenders are these, and what we do is we clip them into our gear so we can then clip the rope in. And because the gear, clip them into the rope and then clip the rope in, we clip them in because the line isn't going to be as straight on a route. So you might get gear over here and gear over here, and actually what to do is extend it. And so what you want is at least one of these which extends to this length, and you can put it away by popping that through and clipping it back. So that's like what I call an extender. I then would get at least 2 of these, which are like 25cm quick draws. Then you want a good few of these, which are like 20cm quick draws. So 1, 2, 3, and then, you know, last but not least, a couple of these little short ones. And that, you know, I've done a quick draw review, so you can see what kind of draws I recommend for that. And the last thing is I've got a sling, like a 60cm sling, which I would wear over my shoulder, and then 2 120 slings that I wear over my shoulder. Now, as you kind of get more experience, what you might want to do is start getting more cams. So you might get the whole rack of DMM cams, so you sort of go up from that. And then because this is the smallest cam, what I might do is I then get like something a little bit smaller. And then if you're really going for it, so this is kind of, we're moving into now like the rack I would use for my trad climbing, so smaller again with these like BD tiny Camelots. Two seconds. And then for me, I actually end up using over a double rack of wire. So if I take this, I would add that one to there. I'm actually going to take this one off, put this one on, and put this one on. So this is an interesting one. This is a offset, sort of like almost a super light one, so they are really light. So that's my rack of large wire. So I now go have large and then medium wires. So medium. I'll take some of these off. So medium. And then small. So although this is actually a medium size, it's actually quite small when you put it in profile. So I now end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 small, 1, 2, 7 medium, and 7 large. And because I'm now using some of these like super lightweight offsets, I'm carrying more wires. I'd also start adding, you know, loads more quick draws. I'd have definitely 2 of these extendable ones. I then usually have like another one of those and another one of these. I also would recommend you all having like a HMS carabiner. And then, you know, when you get into harder stuff, you definitely want a rack of RPs. And so one of the things you want to, you know, you go from the start out rack to something this size with, you know, something like in the range of 14 quick draws. Weight does become an issue, and so using these wire gates with like slings becomes prominent. You know, I do have some sort of more sport climbing drawers, but again they're kind of still have one snap gate on it. And so I also have things like, you know, when I bought these, I bought the right colour carabiner to go with each cam. So when I look down, I see I want a purple cam, or I want red, or I want gold. I see that. I also, you know, these wires are colour coded, so I know that if I need if this one doesn't fit, I know I need to look for this shade of blue. And which means I've got this one, or actually this one, that are that shade of blue. Similarly, if yellow's too small, I go to the same colour, or if it's like this but slightly offset, I then have these offsets, and you know, so that's another thing. So I've got like a total variety of different gear, so that I've got as many eventualities as possible. I mean, I'm not carrying the world, but this is actually a reasonable weight rack for me to carry up any trad route. And so, you know, we might only start off with this much with half the wires, but you know, the idea is as you develop as a climber, you can then start adding to your rack, and you'll know what you need and what you don't. And so to start with, that rack of 1 to 10, 3 cams, maybe a couple of hexes and 8 quick draws should get you up most sort of like easy pitches on a single pitch route. When it comes to doing more multi-pitch stuff, you might need a couple more carabiners just to make belays, so the person that leads through has it. But you know, and you might need a few more wires. But you know, if you're going to start out doing single pitch routes, then this is totally adequate.